Hey there, Cancer. Let's see what you got going on. Messages for Cancer. Messages for Cancer. So right before I turned on the camera, I also got fake family and friends, an unsupportive support system. And I put that back and I was like, I don't know if I was ready yet. I'm not sure if that was meant for Cancer. And then as I turned it on and I shuffled, this comes out. Envious and jealous, I want what you have. Bummer. What you got going on, Cancer? Feeling unsupported. Secret societies and the elites, the reptilians. Envious and jealous and unsupportive support system, fake family and friends. Abuse of power. I feel like in this incarnation, in this period of time, you've had a lot of people who were the closest to you and who you loved the most that didn't necessarily support you. Or not only did they not support you, but they also kind of sabotaged you as well. You know, Capricorn and Cancer, we have that access, you know, it's like the mother and father of the tarot I see them as that for me. And I think you were put in this particular situation is because you have a particular journey within this life. You had to be primed to become what you were and who you were to become, because we all have a particular mission in this life, and so do you. And sometimes we're put in the middle of a family situation or in many different aspects where we found that the people closest to us that should have been there supportive to us were the ones that ended up hurting us the most. I feel like maybe you've wondered why you've been in such a difficult situation, but it's important to know that, you know, we come into this journey within this lifetime to be able to learn, to grow and evolve, and to be able to, and when we evolve, we come into ourselves and learn our superpowers, you know? And maybe there's certain powers to be on top of, not only is it the divine, but, you know, as above, so below. There are forces just on that polar side of it that also have a part to play to balance out the universe. It's never just light, it's light and dark. And you are being prepared within this life. And that's possibly why you had to grow that hard shell of yours. You know, it became like a protectant, because it was like, along with those both polar opposites of Capricorn and Cancer, you know, we meet down the middle of feeling like we are not heard, or feeling like we are not considered, and always having these certain entities or powers that be, or people who did have a certain kind of power over us, just completely try to abuse it and totally keep us held down in some kind of way. And usually that is a sign of a very weak person with a weak mind and a weak will, that they try to control the fates of others around them. Because usually when you find the most toxic, insecure people, they're also the most controlling and the most oppressive. It's because a lot of times they have an emptiness, a void, or a feeling of being so out of control within their life that the only way that they could get sense of any kind of control or security is trying to oppress everybody else around them. A revelation and truthful communication. Whatever group or powers or friends or family members or bosses or management that you've had, who possibly they were doing a lot of shady stuff, and they were very oppressive and they were very toxic within themselves. I feel there was a lot that was being hidden, and I feel like things are about to be revealed. What's going to be revealed? It's like people are getting called out, people are getting caught, and I get this image of that kid who snuck into the kitchen before dinner and sneaking snacks and cookies before dinner, and the mom walks in and turns on the light, and it's like, I caught you with your hand in the cookie jar, Maybe someone that you thought that was for you, or that was supportive of some kind, maybe they weren't exactly who you thought they were. Maybe that there are things that was going on that really you had no idea that something was being hidden the way it was, but it's like somebody got caught. And once this revelation, it either came out or it's going to come out, there's like a judgment, like someone is going to get judged, and it's like someone got caught, and it's not because, and then there's an ensuing, there's a guilt, and there's like, but and a depression afterwards. And maybe even like, oh, I feel bad now that I was caught, but it was more that they feel bad that they were caught, instead of like feeling regretful of any wrongs that they did. Maybe whoever you were dealing with, they were hiding a lot of things. This could have been somebody with like a hidden life, like, you know, like those people who have like a secondary family or like a girlfriend. And usually when it comes to infidelity or like, you know, being betrayed, you know, it's not the betrayal itself, but it's more of the fragmenting of the world that you thought it was when you didn't know what was going on, and you find like some kind of surprise or revelation like this, and it's really the shock of it. It's like your reality that you thought that you had wasn't, it didn't reflect reality at all. Like I feel like it's feeling like, oh my God, like I had no idea, like, and the shock of it, it kind of throws you off balance completely, you know? And it's like, what else didn't know? What else wasn't seeing? Like, what else is going on? Because it was so past my vision of awareness that it makes you question your reality from any day afterwards, because it was like a realization that there was a whole different world or something that was being hidden that you had no idea about, going on right under your nose. I feel there was a tyrant that you were dealing with, or it could have been a partner, a parent, a boss, you know, certain like groups, organizations. They're getting their hands caught in the cookie jar, and there will be a judgment and a day of reckoning. And perhaps all of it will unravel by like a third party situation of it, you know, like what took down Clinton, you know, like when he was president, it was the third party, you know, it's like what brought him down out of office, you know, it was that third party. Like, it's like this third party person who brought down that general, like, who, you know, was telling secrets and stuff to, you know, his paid company for the night. I'm feeling like that feeling of Persephone, you know? No, not Persephone. It was Pandora. Pandora's box, where she was sent by the gods, and as a way to, it was punishment, because like, what was it, one of the Greek gods, what is his name, he stole fire from Mount Olympus from Zeus and all the gods, and he brought it to humans and humanity. And he wasn't supposed to do that, and he did not have permission from the rest of the gods to do so. But then he saw the humans suffering below, and he was like, I gotta help them, you know? And then he did that without their permission. He brought the fire to humanity, and so Zeus and all the rest of them, they were pissed. Like, you know, they brought him in and they gave him an internal punishment. And I think it was either pushing a huge boulder continuously up the rocks, or it's like, or every sunrise or sunset, like he gets picked by like vultures apart, you know, tied to like a boulder. I'm not sure which, but it happens every night though. And as a way to punish humanity, even though they were like the third party person, they were the person on the outside. It's not like, hey, whatever, demigod or god, bring us fire. They didn't say that, but they were like the guilty party. They were guilty by association. And Zeus punished them by sending Pandora down. And when they sent Pandora down, you know, I believe that's the story. And it was like she ended up opening up the box when she wasn't supposed to open the box, and she let all of the horrors of the world ravage the rest of humanity the moment that she opened the box. And what was the last that was left within the box that she wasn't meant to open was hope. But truth is a funny thing. Like, in the end, there is a saying, it was like there's only two things that is assured to rise: the sun and truth. And I think there's gonna be some truth revealed, and it's gonna be by someone who is guilty by association. At least I think that's how the story goes. I don't know. Now, there was possibly a family member or a friend or somebody who was actually close to you. Maybe they were that Pandora for you, and, you know, they were kind of like a secret enemy. And maybe it's like you have somebody here that's just really always just kind of jealous and envious of what other people have. And as long as, you know, like, even if they have the most, and, you know, if they make the most money, like, they hate it to see if anyone has anything, you know, like, they'll still be jealous of it even if they have more, because it's like they don't like other people's light, you know, like, it makes them very envious because they're like that darkness. Like, these are people who are very, like, kind of selfish and narrow-minded, and, you know, who are self-centered. This is 3D and narrow-minded, micro and macro concept. Expand your mind for evolution. You could have been going through some kind of depression, and, you know, maybe you felt like you were treated as like an option more than a priority. Maybe you're left to do everything on your own when you've always were there to care for everybody too. And it's like nobody really was there to support you in that way, the way that you supported them. And it's like you got yourself in some kind of mindset where you feel kind of all alone. And once this revelation, like, or this truth, it made itself known to you, and, you know, like, maybe you felt taken advantage of in some kind of way, and it really affected you. that you were never treated like a priority. And maybe it also took a shot of your self-worth in some kind of way. If this is like a business partnership or a business situation that you found out your management or bosses or, you know, some organization that you work under or contract for, like they could be doing a lot of stuff that maybe you had no idea of. That there's a whole world going on around you, and it's like there's going to be some kind of shock value to it because somebody is going to get called out and caught. And maybe you kept yourself in some kind of box, or somebody was trying to keep you in some kind of box to try to just control your energy, to stop you from progressing in a kind of way, to keep you in a low vibe and stop your progress. And perhaps certain energies were sent in your way in order to stand in your way as well, to keep you distracted, to kind of lead you off the wrong path. You know, it's that snake offering, you know, that apple from the tree of knowledge to Eve, trying to throw you off your path. And I feel like you're trying to like tread through muddy water, you know. Now I'm also getting that vision of like, you know, never-ending story where Atreyu is like wading through the mud of, you know, it's like it's like the mud of sadness, or like, you know, where that huge turtle lived. And I feel like you've been kind of suffering through some kind of depression because you had some kind of revelation and your world got kind of, I don't know, shooken up because of it. And a truth was revealed, and it definitely threw you off balance. And it could have been a partner, or like some third party, or some kind of lover situation, you know, not third party, but lover situation. And you could be going through some kind of depression. Or maybe you got sent like, you know, like a reptilian in human skin that was like a shapeshifter, kind of like you thought it was a loving partner, but it turned out to be a reptile, you know. And now that this person was caught, now you have to deal with the reality of it and the fallout of what was revealed. And it was somebody that was closest to you and you had the most trust in, you know? Or somebody that got caught as well, they must be going through it too, but it's more that they got caught. Let's do an elemental cross. It's not that they were sorry for what they did. They were sorry that they got caught. 5 of Cups. Crying over spilled milk. Regret. crying over what was lost. This is in the past. You know, it's like Three of Swords. It's kind of what I saw. It's when I was working as like, because I used to be like a sleep tech. You know, I worked nights. And, you know, I would be those people who would scream for like apnea and stuff like that, for people who thought they had like sleep disorders. And, you know, there's some doctors who would like to handle like, you know, explanations about like, you know, things like obstructive sleep apnea and, you know, like, you know, some people are like, yeah, tell them, be honest, tell them the truth, tell them the seriousness of it. And I kind of always did that to try to make sure that they knew how important it was to stay on treatment, and, you know, because it leads to a lot of bad health issues. And then, you know, I went to another place, another lab I started working at, and then the doctor, and I had a complaint by one of the patients who wasn't using their treatment, or I'm not sure how the doctor found out, but I got pulled aside. They're like, you know, we're not about scaring the patient. I was like, okay, but this patient isn't using their treatment. So it's not only are they a danger to themselves, but they're a danger to everyone else on the road. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to tell them the truth. And for me, being like a Scorpio rising, Aries, like I'm all about, I'd rather know the truth than be lied to, you know? Because it's like, it's the fucking lie. It's the lying by omission that is like, that just kills me. And I'm not going to say that I never lie, you know? But I generally, there's just some things that you really shouldn't, you know, like you really shouldn't, and you really can't, or you can, but you can't justify it in a way that be like, okay, it was for anyone's better good, or it was better that way that I kept it a secret, or, you know, you can't. I would rather just be told the truth of it and have someone just lay it all out on the table. But some people, they're not really built like that. And it's all a matter of perspective, I guess. But for me, I would rather know the truth. Like, the truth is, like, you thought you had a warm-blooded person who was capable of empathy and love and respect for someone that they've been with, and it turns out you've been dating a reptilian. In the present, in the past, there's like, once this came out, somebody is crying over spilt milk, of all the things that were lost, of all the time that they spent and effort that they put out. And it's like, and now in the present, there is a betrayal. Because maybe if you were honest with yourself, you would probably admit that you really weren't all that happy in the situation that you were in anyway. And maybe this is, even though it's very hurtful and it brings pain to you and it destroys your world and your sense of reality and your perception of it, of how you thought it was, which is probably going to take a long time to understand and to kind of come to and out of it, or, you know, and have an understanding of it, because you have to get through it to get over it. It became like the thing that kind of saved you from a life of hell that you weren't all that happy in anyway, and this was the thing and the truth that was revealed that actually freed you in a situation that you weren't happy with. Because it's like with cancer, like, you love so deeply and you have such empathy and you know, that need for connection, and you know, it hurts you so deeply, and that's why you have to build that you ended up building that hard shell, because it takes a lot for you to trust. And when you do, it's when you come across situations of some kind of betrayal, it's like, wow, it just it gets you to the deepest core. Maybe this person wasn't exactly who you thought they were, and I believe that they had a certain kind of mission on your life, and it was to prepare you for what was to come, because in the end, it's that, unfortunately, it's the trauma that creates that evolution. To really know yourself by going through the depths of hell and the darkest parts of the night, to be able to really appreciate the light when you come out from the other side, to really understand yourself and evolve and learn your gifts and your superpowers. And because you learn it through trauma, you learn it through pain, you learn it through living throughout moments and situations that you didn't think that you'd be able to survive. And then you find out when you do come out through the other side that you did, and how much stronger that you were because of it. So what could be helping you? What's the help? Now, the thing that helped you was, and the thing that could help you, is really your resiliency, your need to care and love for others, an idea, a living being, a human concept, like a goal, like you know, like a charity, a path in life, like an organization. And you end up accepting a lot of those burdens and responsibilities on your own shoulder. And when you're with another person that is kind of checked out and who's never really there anyway, because they're doing a lot of gnarly shit, or they're sent in your life karmically to kind of like break your psyche and destroy you for a little while. You find out that you were doing everything the entire time, and not only were you doing everything for yourself and being your only support system, you were also doing everything for another person. And what's going to help you is understanding that this person wasn't really all, or this person or this job or this organization, they weren't really an assistance or help to you in any way. It's like you were carrying everything the entire time. And once you actually release this situation, you realize exactly how much that you were actually caring and how little this other person did. They were just a drain on your energy, like a wasted space, like a black void that just sucked up all the energy and joy and happiness out of your life. And it's like you're so damn loving and loyal and caring and giving, like you just kind of stayed and take it, and perhaps you would have stayed and took it and been taken advantage of if you didn't find out this truth. So in the end, it's like, although it's painful, it was the thing that ended up freeing you to save you from the reptiles. And this reptiles, it's like in the end, the truth will set you free. But I see this like regret of like when I was hearing this song in my head before I played it. It was like that Beatles was like, yesterday all my troubles seem so far away. Now I see this kind of like in the past, like this nostalgia and sadness of all the things that were lost, and all of like a time that was simpler and better or easier. And it's like kind of getting lost into it. But then it's like, well, I kind of... And it's like you were unhappy in the situation, but you still would have stayed. And now that you found out this betrayal of whatever that was being done to you, unbeknownst to you, is finally going to come to light. And what's going to help you is to realize how much that you were doing, not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. And the fact that this person won't be around you is that you're going to realize how much burden that you were actually carrying that wasn't even yours. Once this extra dead weight is gone. Your obstructions and your challenges is the Magician. It could be a Virgo or a Gemini. This is Mercury. This is manifesting. You currently feel betrayed and you feel unsupported and you feel kind of like regretful of all the things that you did extra for this person or organization or job or family member. And when the shit hit the fan for you, there was nobody left to help you. And it's like they all scattered and they all just took what the hell that they wanted and left you out into the lurch. And perhaps they even were kind of trying to actively keep you stuck. They were trying to keep you bound to them in some kind of way. They were sabotaging you. You're dealing with a narcissist. You were absolutely dealing with a narcissist. Someone who is not who they seemed at all, who has many different faces, and they could have been stealing from you behind your back. They could have been, and it's like not only were they uncaring, they were ungrateful, they were using you, they were keeping you for granted, like taking you for granted, like you stayed for your love and your devotion and care while they were actively trying to like destroy you, because this is what toxic people do. Even though, and we could just, And it's like we could leave it to the person and think that, oh, it's just this person, it's just this person. Like I said, everybody has a path in life, and so they. They have a karma to play out into this life. And that's what karmic soulmates are. We're all karmic soulmates, all of us, you know? We're all soulmates, and anyone that you come across with that you have a significant interaction with, a significant relationship wise, you've had past life karma with them. And usually it's a backlog of past lives that come back, and it's paying some kind of karma back from that past life, from the last past life into this life. Like maybe you screwed them over in the past life, and in this incarnation, like their job is to totally traumatize you this time. But in the end, it was like they were meant to go on this path where they became dark, and they're the ones to bring people into the darkness and break people's psyche in order for them to go into that dark night, in order for them to find their spiritual growth. And then you would find your light workers, those who came out from the other side, and those who learned and evolved because of it. There's a lot of dark energy here. A whole lot of dark energy. And perhaps they were putting a lot of bad energy on you. And if it's not manifested in like just screwing you over, manipulating you, lying to you, gaslighting you, like maybe when you're around this person as a partner, you would constantly lose your keys, you would constantly forget things, you know? Like people with this kind of like energy, they actively hide shit from you. They actively move shit around from you. They throw you off balance, and you would think that's insane. Like, you know, like it's like, you know, like that movie, they really do shit like that. And then they'll question you about it, like, even though they know you did it, just to throw you off balance and second guess yourself. And then when you're so unsure of yourself, you become a lot easier to control, because then they could lord over you and act like, you know, you can't take care of yourself. And in the end, in reality, you were taking care of everybody and everything. It was just this person was just totally busting down your self-confidence this entire time. They were gaslighting you. You know, they could have been hiding your keys when you knew you had to go to work. They could have like started fights with you right before you walked out of the door to just fuck up your day. You know, they could have just hid shit and then asked for it, you know. And it's like, why, where is my brain? Why am I losing all of this stuff? Like, why can't I ever find anything? And they'd be like, oh, cancer, you know, that's just you. But it wasn't, it was them. And if not, if they're not doing this in the tangible, and I feel that they were, perhaps all of this negativity, this inner resentment that people like this have to anyone that has any kind of light, that they just actively try to tear the world down around them and everyone close to them. You know, it's like the kings of chaos, the sons of anarchy, you know, like the people who just like to start some shit because it's like a toxic people likes drama. They do. They like these fights. They like these problems. And it's maybe this is going to be part of the betrayal. That was part of the betrayal. It's like you found out like, holy crap, like you were stealing from me this whole time, or you know, like you were using me for you only wanted to marry me for a fucking green card, or you know, like, or oh wow, you know, like it's a betrayal like that. Like it's someone that you thought that you really cared about and they really cared about you, And it's like they put on such a good show, you know? And it's like, wow, you fucking reptile, you know? And then perhaps like they've been guessed, if you're in that situation for so long, it's like you start feeling codependent. And even if you do everything, you start to feel like you need the other person because you feel like you're not good enough. And this was a saving grace, Cancer. It really was. And I know it's hard to say, believe that now. And I know it's even shitty to hear me say that. But I mean, look where you were with a smug person, like, who kind of always made you feel like you weren't good enough about yourself, who always made you feel like you had to do more, who never helped and supported you. And it's like, what's going to help you is realizing after you drop this dead weight, it was like carrying a dead body around, and they weren't even gave you the courtesy of like moving their feet a little to help you while you're trying to drag them out of a burning building, you know, like there's no courtesy of that. And you're going to realize when you drop it, like how much lighter you're going to be, because this is where you're going, your outcome, your future of how much more, like your wheel of fortune, the turn of the wheel of something better, because this was shit in the past. It was purgatory, and you may be going through hell now. But once you separate yourself from it, you realize how toxic this person was, because you were gaslighting yourself and telling yourself it wasn't even that bad, when in reality you were living in hell with some magician. This person has a lot of dark energy, and they were doing some nasty shit behind your back because they hate other people's light. This may be kind of overwhelming for you after like realizing this and having your whole perception just like shook. What's going to help you is just trying to make plans into step by step into what you're going to do next, and how to pull yourself away from this toxic demonic energy that's been totally destroying your life behind your back. Knight of Peppermills, Knight of Wands underneath. What you don't see is this person was like immature, childish, attention seeking. This person had no, like, this person, job or situation, they were impulsive. They were aggressive. Like, there's no staying power. There's no real benefit to it. They were just sucking the life out of you. And, you know, I'm not saying this, they were, you know, and everyone, I could even say this is like a dark magician. This is, you know, but I mean, I'm sure there's like a small percentage that people actually fuck with magic, you know. Maybe in this community a bit more than the regular community, but even then it's not even all that much. But it's like when you have such negative thoughts all the time, and this toxic aura and sense of self and perception of other people around them, nasty shit happens. If they're not actively doing it, they're projecting it on you, and that could be considered black magic. And you know, they don't have to be lighting candles and making voodoo dolls and shit, because it actually affects it the same way, because they have so much concentration on what other people have and how they shouldn't have it. And, you know, like they just totally start fucking up your life. And, you know, being around these people, it's so unconscious, the gaslighting, you know, that you don't even realize how they were sabotaging you in any way. It starts out and you'll get little glimpses of how toxic it was. And it's not by just visually seeing it, it's actually feeling it. That's the first thing that comes first. Like, do you have these aches and pains all of a sudden? Even if before things started to go wrong, you know, even on the good stages, you start getting these aches and pains, these migraines, this like pains in the neck or the back. And it's like, you're like, wow, did I pull something? Like, why am I always sore? Why am I always tired and lethargic? Like, maybe you'll start getting rashes, like this weird eczema, you know? And it's, you start breaking out. You're like, where is this coming from? Like, you know? And it's like, because you could, before you're consciously aware, it's like you're exposed to all this toxic energy and this toxicity that this person is emanating from, that even if you don't visually see it, or even, you know, your body picks it up, because this is what they're emanating out, this toxicity. And it's already, even before they start, like, you know, the manipulation starts to become maybe semi-conscious, or you become like even even before you become unconsciously aware of it, your body will pick it up first. And this revelation, this understanding, this truth that will be revealed, God, it will be your saving grace, because it'll save you from this hell into something better. And in the end, in comparison, being away from this toxicity, if you're not dealing with the freaking, like, because they create trauma bonding, and you start feeling addicted to the toxicity, to the toxic person, because they trauma bond you, and you'll get the Stockholm syndrome where you feel like addicted to the person, that you need it because they were manipulating you into a way of this trauma and this, you know, devastation. And it's like they were building this codependency and implanting it in you, that you start falling in love with the abusive captor. And it's not really love, it's just that addiction, it's that codependency. And maybe you're gonna feel this like tinges of that initially, but it's like quitting smoking, you know? You know it's bad for you. It doesn't give you any kind of benefit. It only makes things worse for you in the long run. And the longer you do it, the worse off it'll be for you, with financially, health-wise, everything. But you still have that need and addiction for it. And it's like the longer you stay away from this, the better it's going to be. And even if it's shit, it's not gonna, it's still gonna seem like freaking heaven, being away from this toxic reptile, because they threw the devil at you to keep you stuck, to keep you off of your focus and your mission. And that's usually when the devil comes calling, is when you start going on to your path and you got caught up, because like we all do, because cancer, you know, like when it comes to people you love, you're willing to overlook a lot of things when you get attached to them. But I don't think this is something that you should ever ignore or go back on, because this person, like, they have it dark demonic soul and entity inside. They were so broken and traumatized within their life that they're now an empty vessel for darkness and demonic energies. And it's like loving a rabid dog, you know? Like it could never consciously be aware of your love. It's just rabid. And if they don't outwardly show their rabid aggressiveness, you still feel it within your body wise and health, even though they're not actively sabotaging you, but they are every moment you're with this person, this job, this entity, in order to keep this power over you, this power dynamic, this abuse of power. In the past, somebody was regretful of what they lost. They lost somebody who was independent, who was strong, who was independent. Maybe you lost your sense of abundance and independence and, you know, that nourishing quality about it. And you got caught up with somebody who is amazingly smug, and it was like maybe they saw all of your beautiful gifts, your nurturing qualities, and your abundance, and you know, they took advantage of that like a vampire. And you're ready to drop that burden now. 10 of Wands. Because this is what this person, this job, this organization is. It's dead weight. That they have no benefit in this reality in any way to your lighter path, to your abundance. It's only just minuses and to keep everyone around them down. And you're finally ready to drop that burden and make this escape. What's going to help you is to get away from this toxicity, to move away from, you know, the war zone, to move as far away from this reptile as possible, and finally be able to get some kind of rest. Because even if before you were consciously aware of whatever this knowledge that came out, your whole body, your psyche, everything was on a response of a trauma response of like being with a narc is like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It's that bad for your health. Not even gonna lie. Because it affects you, not only psychologically, but physically as well. Not only physically, but financially as well. And being with a person like this will ruin your life. You'll lose jobs. You'll lose savings. You could even lose your freedom. You could end up in jail and shit. They could, you know, call the cops on you and put up false charges of like, you know, like of child abuse, or like false charges of like, you know, theft, you know, just like they, or, you know, false charges of being like, oh, this person beat me, you know, like that shit with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Like, it'll fudge up your life. And perhaps your life was already going on the downhill because you were trying to just maintain some kind of normalcy. And while this person was actively trying to ruin shit for you, this person was an enemy. He or she was a wolf's in sheep's clothing. They were reptilian. They had a darkness in them, and they had an entity attachment, and they were a shell of what they were from this trauma and soul loss. Obstacles and challenges is manifesting your wish is following your dreams, is to create a tangible, like to bring whatever wish or dream or, you know, following your north node, bring it into this reality, into this world, because it's like you're still suffering. You got thrown off track from your life path due to this betrayal, due to this manipulation. And now you're having possibly even self-confidence issues. You got to deal with the fallout of whatever was revealed. You have to suffer the consequences as a guilty by association. And now you have to deal with the fallout of it, probably court cases, a divorce, a separation, and whatever path that you found yourself going on when you met this person, that you were on your way. You found out you're miles away from it, because now you got to deal with this bullshit on top of dealing with this bullshit at the time that was sent here to throw you off your path. And now it's not only the physical time to be putting into it, now it's also to deal with your life thereafter. This push you even farther away from this goal of your life path that you were thrown off track because of it. But I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, because you deserve to feel any way that you need to feel. You shouldn't suppress anything. You have to get through it to get over it and to come out on the other side. But it's like, we could always just take the benefits on top of the negatives, like what you learn from it, because with every like great tragedy becomes great knowledge and lessons that we learn from it. And this is something that could actually build you stronger. And it will build you stronger because of it. It could enact an awakening. It could, you know, like send you through deeper into your spirituality, or cause another awakening where you're actually able to gain more of your superpowers, tap into more into your psychic gifts. And it's shitty that it has to go through this way, but unfortunately, there's no way that we could live a happy rainbow life and be able to access these deeper parts of ourselves, because it's usually going through that darkness and being able to touch it and to know it and to see it, to be able to realize and acquire this kind of greater power. Because once you drop this dead weight, you're going to be so much more lighter and efficient. And, you know, it's going to bring a fire back into your life, because you're going to, in the end, you'll eventually realize how much less that you actually had to do now that this dead weight is gone. where you're going towards, your future, your outcome, expansion, the wheel of fortune. Take the time that you need when you need it. Handle one task at a time that will be associated to pull yourself out of this. Like if you have to find a new place, or, you know, moving out, if you have to change your address, if you have to find a new job, if it's a toxic ass job, it's like trying to pick up the pieces when your life has fell apart like a giant 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzle, and you just have to start out matching the edges. And although it looks overwhelming and hard and almost like impossible, when you kind of start with one section at a time, what seemed like an impossible and almost unfathomable like quest, before you know it, you could look back on it and see like, oh my God, look how much that I did. Look at the depths of the darkness that I went through. You know, look how amazingly resilient and strong I am that I was able to get through this. Look what I did. Look, I was able to build this masterpiece. I was able to expand. I was able to learn how amazingly strong and resilient I am. And all of the amazing gifts and knowledge that I learned, and how much more sure of myself that I am now that I got myself through it, that it does become a superpower. Because, you know, at the time when you're looking at all of the pieces on the floor of this jigsaw, of this 5,000 piece, you're like, what am I gonna do? I'm never gonna put this back together. This is a mess, and nothing's ever gonna get better. And it's like, take the time that you need, take your rest, but you have to start eventually. Give yourself a time period. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. But then once this time period is up, you have to start being practical and start slowly picking yourself back up, one tiny piece of section at a time. And then you'll realize like how much better life is now that I don't have this demon attached to me on my back, you know, destroying my life and sabotaging everything that I try to work for myself, and I try to do for myself, and I try to build for myself. And now that this is gone, you have so much more and so much better in comparison, being away from this demon. Look what's underneath. 7 of Swords, rat bastard, someone sneaking off into the night. Knight of Wands underneath. Let him or her go, because this person is poison for everyone that they're around. Oh, look what fell. It fell off and the Fool was underneath. Let this friend. Oh my God. This person is poison no matter where they go. This company, this group, this organization, it wasn't you, Cancer. And I don't want you to beat yourself up because of it. Like, why did I let myself be treated like that? Or why did I not see it? Because honestly, you're being psychologically terrorized. in this situation, that you were put in a position that your sense of vision and perspective was distorted by a really toxic person. And this is what this magician is. You got a lot better things coming towards you. And I know it's hard to say that now, but honestly, if you stayed in this situation, they would have destroyed everything that was good about you. And they would have eventually left everything that they touched into another living entity and shell for whatever demon attachment that could be, and whatever empty vessel that could be used for darker energies. Attachment in reverse. What's needed? Advice. Release this attachment. Look at this picture where she's looking up at the mask, and it's like she removed it. And whatever false belief and perceptions that they put on you, that they made you believe about yourself, it was through their distorted, sick, toxic view of you, which had nothing to do with your reality. And the reality of you and all of your amazing gifts. And it's actually taking off the mask for the first time and fully admitting that I was miserable in this situation before I found out the truth. So what did you really lose? It's like the bird that was held captive but was in a gilded cage. Release this sick attachment. They were draining everything that was good about you, all of your good qualities, and they were feeding off of you. This is an energy vampire. This is a demon. Look, magician in the mirror. All of this extra work and energy that you put into this person, this organization, this relationship, this job, you realize how much of a sick, mental manipulation, this mind control that they put on you. Because they were forcing you. This magician in the mirror. It's time to manifest for you. Time to put in all this extra work that you've been putting in for you. And to manifest for yourself in your dreams and to follow your own life path, because this person, this reptile, this job, this organization, they were put into your life in order to keep you from it. Selfish. Man holding the coin in reverse. This person, the situation, they were robbing you of everything that you had. They had absolutely nothing to offer anybody. And all they are is a parasite, a parasitic entity who was trying to cut you off from your own intuition. Damn, I feel like there was some bad juju being put on you. Fucked with your abundance. your productivity. They could have stole from you. And it left you in some kind of financial constraints. They even try to cut you off, like they will. They have. They were actively sabotaging you. I feel like, fuck. If I didn't know any better, this is black magic. And it's not that I don't, yeah. If they weren't actively, tangibly doing it, their energy itself was doing this. They were doing some energy work. 7th chakra, angel of balance. Now the 7th chakra, that's your crown. It represents states of higher consciousness and divine connection. Unbalance, it's cynicism, disregarding what is sacred, closed-mindedness, and disconnection with spirit. It's time to connect with spirit again. Because this person was trying to keep you away from anything that was light, your divinity, your belief in self, your belief in the divine. Try to keep you locked into the darkness. Angel of balance. This is divine intervention. This was saving you. It's like these angels came down and saved you from this hell. And although you lost some tangible situations, it was actually your release. It was like they were breaking you out of jail. 4 plus 8, it equals to 3. Don't believe for 1 second that you were forsaken by the divine, by your angels. You weren't. You're being guided this entire time, and it was to save you from this demonic energy. And your angels are there the whole time. This was divine intervention, and they saved you from this demonic energy. And the best thing that you can do for yourself to save anything that you have left is to get as far away from this demon as possible. And this is where they're leading you, your angels. Expansion, good fortune, a turn of the wheel to actually something positive this time. I mean, god damn. Look at selfish. Selfish. You'd think this is the worst thing that ever happened to you, but honestly, look what fell underneath. 5 of Wands. Selfish. You were saved. But that's what I got for you, Cancer. I'm sorry you're going through this. If it did hit, feel free to drop that. You know, I don't even know if I want to say this after this. I love you lots, and hang in there, okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye.